What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are actually going to continue our coverage over Knight Terrors. Now, remember, when it comes to Knight Terrors, it is DC's big summer event, where right now we have a new bad guy out there known as Insomnia, who's right now looking for something called the Nightmare Stone. Now, for him to be able to actually find the Nightmare Stone, he has to jump around between different people's nightmares as a way to find the Nightmare Stone. And so what he did was he put the entire world to sleep so that it will be easier for him to jump around nightmares to hopefully find the Nightmare Stone. Now, the main storyline is really focusing on a select few characters who are right now trying to stop Insomnia. But when it comes to the tie-ins, they are technically used as a way for us to explore the nightmares of different characters in DC Comics, both heroes and villains. And so to continue our coverage over the tie-ins, we actually pick up with Knight Terrors Ravager number 2. Now, when it comes to Knight Terrors Ravager number 2, we're continuing our coverage over her nightmare, her worst fear. Now, to remember what's happening so far in her tie-in series, we have to remember that when it comes to her nightmares, she's trying to get away from a guy known as the Murderman. Now, the Murderman is, of course, just Deathstroke, but again, some kind of nightmare creature in her nightmare. Because when it comes to Ravager, her worst fear is becoming like her father, Deathstroke. Because right now she knows if she continues to follow down the path she's on right now, she may become just like her father, and she's not trying to be like that. But on top of that, when it comes to her nightmare, the Murderman, the nightmare version of Deathstroke in her nightmare right now, he's right now trying to use Rose as a way to access the world of the living. So he's trying to leave the nightmare world and go to the real world to continue his chaos across the real world. But for him to do that, he has to, of course, capture Rose Wilson in her own nightmare. And so as we go deeper into this storyline, we actually do see right now, she's not being chased down by the Murderman. Matter of fact, she's being chased down by the nightmare version of herself. Because remember, in our last video for Knight Terrors Ravager, when it came to Ravager, when she did arrive in this nightmare, she actually saved the nightmare version of herself because she thought the nightmare version of herself was actually in trouble. But in reality, it was a trap to hopefully get close enough to Ravager to kill her or to capture her so that the Murderman will be able to actually escape this nightmare world and go into the real world. And so right now, she is on the run. She is trying to stay away from Nightmare Rose, but also other kinds of nightmare creatures that are right now working for the Murderman, who are right now trying to actually capture her. But then we have to transition back over to the world of the living. Now, when we actually do that, we do get reminded that when it came to Insomnia, for him looking for the Nightmare Stone, he put everybody to sleep on Earth right now. Well, almost everybody, because that is the moment where we actually pick up with Peacekeeper 01. Now, when it comes to Peacekeeper, but also Ravager, they belong to a particular group of heroes known as the Stormwatch. Now, when it comes to Stormwatch, they're kind of like Sword over in Marvel Comics, where their big goal is to protect the Earth from any kind of alien attacks. Now, at this point in DC Comics, I want to say their goals are a tad bit different, but honestly, I do not know about that. Either way, when it comes to Peacekeeper, he was actually unaffected by Insomnia's powers, and so he's actually awake. Now, at the end of our last video, we did see him being able to actually find Ravager. And so in this book right here, we see him right now taking her inside some kind of diner so that she'll be out of the road. But on top of that, he's trying to find a way to actually wake her up. And so he says, you know what? I do have one particular way that could actually wake her up. But getting back over to the nightmare of Ravager, you do have Ravager right now trying to build some kind of connection with the nightmare version of herself. because she wants her nightmare version of herself to realize that when it comes to the murder man, he's basically just using her. And the reason why she is saying that, because in the world of the living, that's how she feels anytime Deathstroke comes around. Deathstroke is just using her as a way to accomplish some kind of mission. And so right now it's her saying, listen, when it comes to the murder man, your father, he's basically just using you as a way to reach his goal, which is to leave this world behind and go into the world of the living. Now, with that being said, though, you have Ravager just say, I don't care. I want to help him actually reach that goal because I want to see him actually wreck the world of the living. I want to see him actually use you as a gateway so he'll be able to actually go into the world of the living. Now, we do reach the point where you do have the story begin the process of winding down, kind of wrapping up the storyline, but of course, leading us into something bigger down the road to happen. Either way, right now, you do have the murder man being able to actually confront Ravager. Now, when he does confront Ravager, you do have the murder man kind of confirm what I said just a moment ago about the nightmare version of Ravager, that honestly, she does not care that she's right now being used as a way for the murder man to actually access the world of the living. That matter of fact, she wants that to happen. She wants to help out the nightmare version of Deathstroke, her father. Now, once you have both Rose and also the murder man kind of tell Ravager the actual truth about all of this and everything, you have Ravager begin the process of fighting against the murder man, but also fighting against Rose. Now, as the fight goes on, you do have Ravager actually being able to find a way to supposedly defeat the murder man. Now, once she does defeat the murder man, you have the nightmare version of Rose kind of freak out because now her supposed father in this nightmare world was just killed off. But again, is Rose right now telling us, the real Rose, Ravager, telling us right now that she believes that she conquered her actual nightmare? Because again, when it comes to her nightmare, her worst fear is the idea that she may become just like her father. And so right now, her being able to actually kill off the nightmare version of her father, she now truly believes there is no way that she'll become the next Deathstroke. And so with her being able to actually defeat her nightmare and being able to wake up and go back into the world of the living, well, that is the moment where we do see her being confronted by Peacekeeper. And of course, you do have Peacekeeper give her update about what's happening right now with the rest of the world. And so, of course, you do have our two heroes leave this diner to begin the process of hopefully finding a way to help the other heroes out to actually defeat Insomnia. But here comes the problem, though, because as her and also Peacekeeper leave the diner, well, we kind of find out that there is some kind of goo that was left on the countertop at the diner, at the same spot Ravager was just sleeping at. And that goo begins to move. And this right here is kind of giving us a hint that the murder man was actually able to escape the nightmare world by using Ravager. And so now he may actually cause chaos in the world of the living. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.